The good thing to come of all that is that when it does sell anyway, I'll have more money for a daily driver. Hello guys, and welcome to this Volkswizard video, which is a garage update video in which I'm going to tell you about the cars coming to the channel and those sadly leaving it. I've never had to make a video like this before because I've never had so many cars come and go in such a short space of time, but I thought it'd be good to explain to you guys what's going on with some of these cars so you know what to expect on the channel and you'll know why you've seen them for sale on Auto Trader or on my website volkswizard.co.uk. Now firstly, let's talk about Project R8. This came onto the channel in December 2018, so well over a year and a half ago, and I've done I think about 12 or 13 videos with it. It's not been particularly popular, but then I didn't really buy it for YouTube. I bought it because I really wanted an R8. The fact it's been kind of okay for videos is really a bonus. Now, back in 2018, I was selling the house I'd lived in for a long time in Birmingham, and it was really a last ditch attempt to get an R8 before I moved. I didn't expect to move for another, I don't know, 6 months really, because the market picks up at Easter and then there's all the paperwork to do. So I thought if I got 6 months out of the R8, I'd be doing okay, and got that out of my system and I could, you know, be sensible and spend the money on the house from then onwards. But as it turned out, the house that we eventually bought was a bit cheaper than expected because it was a project, and that meant whilst there were going to be costs, they'd be further down the line, and that's basically what meant the R8 has stayed with me for over a year and a half rather than what was originally meant to be half a year. Well, unfortunately the bills now are coming through for all the work we've got to do on the house, and the R8 unfortunately has to fund those bills, so that's why it's on sale. But I don't tend to keep cars for that long anyway. I don't think I've ever had a car for longer than 2.5 years. And that brings me on to another reason why it's for sale. 2020 for me, and I'm sure for you, hasn't really panned out as expected, what with COVID-19 disrupting a lot of plans and overseas travel and stuff like that. 2019 was meant to be the year where I kind of sorted out the R8, and if I didn't sell it, I'd use it in 2020 for some longer, you know, overseas trips, take it down to the Alps, for example. Well, sitting here now in July, it's probably going to be the best part of the year until I do that again, and that's a long time for the car to be sat around. And it's already been sat around for the most part of 2020. It's been to work a few times, not really been anywhere too exciting. So I figured the market seems pretty good now for car sales. These kind of cars sell better in the summer anyway. It's either going to be now or it's going to be 2021, and that might be a bit too late because I need the money, you know, over the next sort of few months. So that's why it's up for sale. It's probably in better condition than it was when I bought it, in fact definitely, and I didn't make a video about this, but I fixed one of the other common problems on these cars, and that's a leaking oil cooler. So I bring it in every sort of few months for an inspection and lift it up, and I found misting under the side blade on the passenger side. Well, that's where the oil cooler sits. It hadn't dripped on the floor in my garage, but misting you don't kind of ignore. So I think pretty much the day I diagnosed it was the day I ordered the part. The next day the part arrived, and the next day the part was fitted, and then I drove it home to test it, drove it back, and now the car's for sale. So yeah, it's a really good example. More information at volkswizard.co.uk. The good thing to come of all that is that when it does sell anyway, I'll have more money for a daily driver. So let's talk about the Leon ST now, because that's also for sale on my website volkswizard.co.uk. Now, some of you may remember, I think it was mainly from social media, but I did drop a hint on a video that I was looking to buy a TCR as a daily driver. Well, that came about because having lived in Birmingham where you can't have a GTI in your driveway, I was moving away to somewhere where I think it's probably safe enough to do so. And I started looking for TCRs back then, but the costs of moving, the indulgence of the R8 meant I went down a more sensible route, and that was buying the Leon ST. But with the R8 going, that means I can indulge in having a TCR as a daily driver. And what made me sort of sure that was the right way to go was this example you see behind me, because just driving it on the roads that I drive, I realised it was really, really fun, and it's not too bad on fuel either. If I'm pretty steady on my commute, I'll see high 30s, and I think that's just about acceptable. There's no guarantee the low fuel prices of lockdown will stay around indefinitely, but right now it probably doesn't cost me an awful lot more to commute than it did in the Leon when I bought it, when fuel was at a sort of normal price. Another reason this particular example appeals to me for that purpose is because originally this car was supplied to the owner on Pretorias and Cup 2 tyres, but he, like me, just wanted to use it for commuting all year round, and he sold off his Pretorias and went and bought some 18s, which we'll talk about now actually, because this car will be around hopefully for a while, and there'll be lots more content. I mean, nobody really wants to see a Leon ST TDI on this channel, I guess, but there's been a lot more interest in the TCR, so that'd be another bonus. But yeah, you can see why I want to keep it. It's a great looking car. So it's a pure grey 3-door with the performance pack. That's why it had the Pretorias and the Cup 2s. It's got dynamic chassis control, adaptive suspension. It's got the speed limiter raised from 155 to 164, which you never know, I might actually go to Germany and experience. But the big thing about this car, which probably put me off almost, was that it hasn't got the factory wheels. And the guy couldn't sell it to Volkswagen because it didn't have the correct wheels. But for me, well, it's almost like being into stage 1 of the project already. It's got cool wheels. Now these are called Oz Omnias. They're not particularly expensive, about £220 each, and they're 18, so originally it was on 19, so it rides better. And instead of Cup 2s, which are a bit dicey in standing water and through the winter when it comes to grip, it's got these Goodyear F1s. So yes, you can buy a TCR on the standard 18s. You can even spec DCC if you want without the performance pack. But when you do, you get wheels that are only 7.5 inches wide. These are 8s, which I think is the same width as the Pretoria. So you get the stance of a Pretoria, which fills the arches better, but you don't have to have the 35 section profile, because these are 40s. So you've got the width of a Pretoria, the stance of a Pretoria because the offset is further out. These are ET45s. You've got a wider wheel, so the extra width is out, but you've got the ride comfort of an 18 and cheaper tyres. So yeah, these are what VW ought to really fit from the factory, but it's almost like they want you to buy the upgrade to get the stance and the width when you could do that with an 18. So these are a very intelligent choice, and these have actually made the car viable for me as a daily because of the ride comfort. TCRs are a little bit harder than the standard GTI Performance with DCC, and yeah, it makes all the difference. Plus I reckon MPG's better as well. I don't reckon you could get into the high 30s with Cup 2s, and I'm pretty sure even the P0s, other owners are telling me they never really see high 30s. So yeah, a very impressive package, and funny enough, it's what's made the car justifiable to me as a daily driver. Okay, originally I wanted a 5-door, but it's actually, now they've stopped making 7.5, it's actually really cool to have a 3-door, because this TCR was one of the last 3-doors they ever made. Just to remind you, when the TCR came out, you could order 3-door and 5-door, but within a few weeks of the order books opening in early 2019, it went to 5-door only. So yeah, this is quite a symbolic car when it comes to the Golf GTI. The other beauty of the TCR is that you don't need to have a track day car. Technology and clever engineering has made this car your daily, a comfortable daily, but also ready for track days. It's got bigger brakes, just changed the wheels and tyres. I've actually got some BBS with some Pirelli Trofeo R's from my old Edition 30 that goes straight on. They're actually the same size as these wheels and tyres. So yeah, just change the tyres, you have a really fast track day car. This car can lap the Nürburgring in 8 minutes 4, which is slower than a Clubsport S, but it's the same as an R8 V8 and the same as a 996 GT3, which I think is pretty impressive. So we've got black roof, but there aren't an awful lot of other extras that this car's got, or that you really need, to be perfectly honest. It's done 4,500 miles. and as you can see, it's already looking rather lived in. And unlike a Clubsport S, you can fold the seats down and put your bike in, which is something I can never do with my Clubsport S, which is a bit ironic, being sort of a Golf, which is meant to be the epitome of practicality. Now the other car on the channel actually is the Project Audi 80. Now I've been a bit too busy to follow that up recently, but we're nearly there with that car. So things like new wheel trims are in stock, centre console bits of trim and all that are ready to go in. It's had a new injector to hopefully finally sort the running issues. So I'm hoping I'll be able to get onto that later in July and do a finished video of that, because that car will be up for sale, I think sometime in August, all being well. So yeah, that's another car to look out for. So yeah, anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this garage update video, and if you have, please give it a thumbs up, please comment, please share, please as ever subscribe. We've got to get to 20k really soon. That's a very significant milestone for the channel, and when I get there I promise you I'll make some extra special content. I'll see you for the next one soon.